if you really want to tackle a lack of inclusivity, you have to go right to the source of this. And I'm talking, of course, about crosswords. Am I reading this right? Crossword puzzles are everywhere, but how inclusive are the bylines and clues? And let's play a game I like to call Guess the Canadian Media Outlets. CBC, bingo. It was kind of a toss-up between them and the Toronto Star, but CBC has taken aim at the crossword because there is a lack of inclusion. Now, I am the in-house crossword expert for True North. No one assigned me this title. I've just sort of claimed it, so I apologize to any of my colleagues if they're as obsessed with crosswords as I am. I do the New York Times. I occasionally do the Times of London. I'm not great at the cryptics, but I try. Absolutely love crosswords. I even at one point submitted one to the New York Times. They didn't publish it, but I tried. So I like crosswords, and I have never once while I've done a crossword been struggling with the lack of inclusivity, but apparently it's been an issue that's been going on for quite some time. As one crossword designer says, when you only have puzzles that represent a certain kind of topic or are only of interest to straight white men, a lot of people won't see themselves reflected in the grid. I think crosswords are only of interest to straight white men because other people have lives. We're boring. Let us have our crosswords, for crying out loud.
No, Andrew, you can't get it. But you see, that's exactly why the crosswords aren't inclusive. It's because people like you are the ones that are only doing them. We need to open it up. We need to make it more inclusive for the rest of society. I just find this so hilarious. I don't do crosswords, I have to say. I have a life, but when I did read this, I thought to myself,
Stone cold.
When I did read this, I thought to myself, well, again, this might be in our yearly Fake News Friday awards show, Andrew. Which, speaking of, we're getting close to Christmas. You hinted at it at the top. We are going to have to do some sort of award show, and we're going to be highlighting the very best of the year in fake news, and I wouldn't be surprised if this makes it into the list. This is what Deborah Wainwright writes in the CBC article, or is quoted as saying in the CBC article. Very hard-hitting journalism, real important stuff from the CBC. This is what we pay them for. She writes, someone decides what words get in, what's part of the clues, and in doing that, they're deciding what should be common knowledge for every one of us, Andrew. Andrew, that's why you can't be the one writing these crosswords. You can't be submitting them. And in fact, it's probably time that you step back and let others have their go at the crosswords. That's really what's going on. We need to change the target market, and then we'll open it all up to the rest of society.
I should say, by the way, this wasn't just the CBC News article. CBC actually ran a documentary a couple of weeks ago about this called Across and Down, which is a great title. But they found that women, Indigenous, Black, and queer-identifying people have been almost invisible in crossword puzzles. So here's the thing. I've already admitted that I have no life. I do the crosswords for the New York Times fairly religiously. But the interesting thing is the New York Times has a crossword blog every day that comes out that has some commentary on the crosswords. And every now and then I'll read that if, I'm interested in the theme or whatever. If you want to have a very good time, and I'm playing fast and loose with good and time, you can see the comments on this. And you get oftentimes these little woke fights when people don't like that a certain word was said or they don't like that a certain word was used. Like one time the answer to the crossword clue was non-PC, as in not politically correct. And everyone was like, why are we vilifying political correctness? Political correctness is great. There was another time where it was 45th president and the answer was Trump. And someone was like, why do I have to see that name in my crossword? So people are getting triggered by crosswords. So maybe I am just being insensitive.